Good evening and welcome to the official co-stream of the back-to-back NBA 2K League champions Wizards District Gaming. Tonight, the defending champs Wizards D.G take on Heat Check Gaming in day 3 of week 1 of the 3v3 seed week. My name is John and I have the pleasure to welcome back from his vacation, Chris. Welcome back. How was your time off?
I appreciate it. It was great. It was a great time off, but I definitely missed you guys over here with DG. So super happy to be back and pumped for more 3v3 action tonight and as well as later on in the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, while Chris was still on vacation, he did miss the game on Tuesday, and it was a game that the team in itself would like to put behind them. But it was a historical moment, as it was one of the first times in 2K League history where an away team traveled down to the physical location of the home team. Wiz DG traveled down to Atlanta to take on Hawks Talon GC. And that home crowd played a factor. It was a 3-1 win for the home team as they defeat Wiz DG here in week 1 of the seed week. But the good news is with the impressive performance of Wiz DG so far in the 3v3 play, they're pretty much going to get at least at the bare minimum the number 2 seed in 3v3 seeding. But they are just a few wins away from locking in that number 1 seed. And that obviously is the goal here because you want to get that best seeding. And Chris, as a former player as well, you can talk a little bit about how important that higher seeding really is when it comes down to playoffs.
Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously there's no real home court advantage in 2K, but at the same time, you always want to put yourself in the best position to play, to have the quote unquote easiest road to the finals. And it looks like our game is already up.
Yeah, it is. Don't you love that? They just yep. Throw it at you, right? It was an 8 o'clock start, then it was a 7:50 start, and then some technical difficulties happened, and now here we are. It is 6-2 here, Chris. If you want to finish your initial thought there, you're more than welcome to, as we're just here in game 1 of a best-of-5 series.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just about to say, it's always important to give yourself the best road. If you earn that in the regular season, whether it's 3v3 or 5v5. It just makes your life easier because you're going to be playing teams that maybe aren't as battle-tested or aren't as accomplished in the earlier rounds. So it just sets you up for success as you go through the tournament.
Absolutely. So just for all those tuning in here, if you haven't watched any 3v3 action here on the official co-stream of WizDG, or if you're not watching 2K stream as well, as Dini drills a 3 from the corner. Wiz DG slowly getting back into this here in game 1. It is a best-of-5 series, first to 21 points by 2. Yes, it is traditional street ball rules. You got to love it. 6 fouls and you foul out, AI player takes over. You definitely don't want that. But yes, first to 3 wins here in seed play. And every team still battling for their positions with Wiz DG. The worst they can finish being that 2nd seed. But Chris did a great job highlighting why we want to go for that number 1 seed as Nudini takes it himself to the rim, makes it 7-11 in favor of the Heat.
Yeah, and I see right now we obviously have a little bit of a different lineup than what we're used to. We have Dini at the sole ball handler, point guard role. Dayfry more so back in his natural position at the center power forward, and then Justin looks like he's on a defensive build as a small forward. So. We're changing things up with our lineup, and we'll see how it works out for us.
Yeah, and that was something head coach Pat Crossan mentioned here a little bit in the post-game show back on Tuesday was using these games, obviously they still want to win, but they're using these games to find new metas, new lineups, new skill sets that they can do to throw at these teams going into the playoffs to see what does work. Because obviously teams are starting to figure out what Wiz DG is doing on the 3v3 court. They're starting to really mimic it in a lot of cases with some of these teams with the archetypes that they're selecting. So they need to find different ways, and that's what we're using these games here for, as Sav activates his badge as well. So he's going to be on fire here for a little bit, taking the ball all the way to the rim. 16-10 for the Heat.
Yeah, and to that point, you never know, what lineups or, what adjustments you'll have to make even maybe mid-series come playoff time. So, it's super important to get, these lineups right and get people in positions where they're comfortable if they have to move out of necessity later on.
A beast move in the corner. Can't get it. Dayfry with the board. 1 possession game here again. First to 21 in this best-of-5 series. Game 1 for Wiz DG versus the Heat as Dayfry pulls up for 3 and sinks in. All tied up at 16 apiece.
Yeah, and we got down to an early deficit, and like the last few games I called before I left, we like to turn it up around the 12 to 16 point range. So it's going to be tough with Sav with his badge, obviously. He'll be able to get shots off pretty easily and quickly, just like that. But I think we're doing pretty well right now.
Quick outlet pass, no good for just awkward. One of the games, Chris, if you ever get a chance to go back and watch the VOD, game 2 of that series against Atlanta, at one point in time, Wizards D.G down by 10 points, 18-8. And they came all the way back. They still ended up losing the game. I believe it was 24-22, but still came all the way back, being on essentially game point, a 3-point basket away. It was definitely a show of grit and toughness from this Wizards D.G team, being down double digits in a 3v3 match to come back and really force essentially what I'll just call overtime for 3v3 play.
Yeah, and that's incredibly difficult, like you mentioned in 3v3, to come back from 18-8. I mean, a team really just needs like two baskets, two dunks, which are so easy to get. Most teams don't like to get twos, but it just shows the camaraderie and the chemistry that we have to be able to compose ourselves through that comeback.
18-19, Heat with the 1-point advantage. Again, you have to win by 2. Both teams in good position here. Nudini kicks it back out. Dayfry at half court with his badge activated as well. Pulls up for 3. It's no good. It's a big defensive board for the Heat.
And Dayfry had his badge right there. Usually centers or power forwards don't want to shoot a 3 off the dribble, but with badge, I think that's a really good shot. He just wasn't able to green it. And we got a great turnover right there.
Solid play there. Nudini going to the corner, puts a 3 up. Can't get it to go. Maybe rushing the possession there just a little bit. Sav with the step back, greens the 3. 22-18 is going to be your final score here in game 1 as the Heat take the victory. Nudini with 11 points. Dayfry with the other 7 for Wizards D.G. On the side of the Heat, it's Sav that pretty much led the way. 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. A very stellar performance there for him as well. As we are kicking it back here as we wait for game 2. And again, the league's promised us quick turnarounds here between these games. Chris, I don't believe them anymore. So we'll see what happens here. But what was some of the key things you noticed here other than the different archetypes and the different positions and roles that the players are playing? What's the big difference you see in this team from the last time we saw them play 3v3 together versus today? Because it feels like they're starting to force shots a little bit more, a common theme that we even saw down in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to say just because, I mean, Dayfry has really been their primary point guard in 3v3 for most of the season. And with that lineup, they've always had a secondary ball handler. So now that Dini goes to the point guard position without a secondary ball handler with Justin on a lockdown and Dayfry obviously at center, it puts a lot of pressure on Dini. I mean, Dini doesn't play point guard in the regular season of the NBA 2K League. So for him to hop on, all the scoring is basically on his shoulders. So it's only natural for him to maybe, rush a few possessions here or there just to try to keep pace with the other team. It's going to be interesting to see if Pat's maybe just trying out this lineup for the entirety of the series, or maybe he's going to shuffle things around mid-series. I'll be interested to see what goes down there. But, I mean, it is only game 1. I think Dini's going to get a lot more comfortable as the series goes on. And that's got to be something they're talking about in the huddle. Just slow down. You don't have to score in the first 5 seconds. You have 24 seconds on the shot clock for a reason. And I think, we're the best team at making adjustments in the entire league. So I expect us to come out with a lot smarter of a game plan and right the ship heading through the rest of the series.
Absolutely. And it was a quick turnaround here for Wizards D.G. also, obviously traveling down to Atlanta on Tuesday, pretty much flying back the same day. They did have the off day yesterday, but now they're back to playing remote play. And I feel like a lot of gamers can kind of relate to this. Obviously, when you play on LAN, there's zero lag whatsoever. You're playing on that local network. But now that you're back playing remotely again, you do have that lag distance, obviously still playing on a centralized server that's fair to both teams. But in a game that is purely about timing, when you press the button, when you release the button for that green shot, how big of a difference is that for a player, especially in 3v3, when the difference between LAN versus remote play?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, most of the time, us as players, we're not really asked to play on LAN and then turn around in a day or two and then play online in an actual competitive game. Usually, you have a few days off and then you have a few days of practice before you'd even think about playing on LAN again. So it might be a little bit of uncharted territory for Wiz DG right now, and that could play a role heading into the rest of the series.
Game number 2 underway. Beast Move starting the game out with a foul. Zudini checks the ball up top and we'll restart. Down 1-0. It's awkward putting up the fourth shot.
And that's just what we talked about. I mean, we do have to make a little bit better decision making with our shot selection. I don't think that's a shot that Justin normally takes, so it might be an indication we're a little bit out of our rhythm, but hopefully we can kind of compose ourselves and get back into this thing.
Lineups remain the same for both teams. As the Heat take the early 2-0 lead. Wide open, Nudini will take it himself, evens the game up at 2.
I think that's good for Dini too. Just get some easy dunks, get his takeover meter up a little bit, which will make it easier for him to dribble, and it'll actually give him some better shots to fall if he shoots a white. So that's good on him.
The Heat pretty much picking up where they left off, hitting that 3-point shot on their first attempt, greening it. Gives him the 3-point lead. Dini getting around his defender. Get Beast Move to jump, and Nudini will respond with a green 3 of his own, all tied at 5.
And that was really good patience by Dini right there, and that's what he has to continue to do. Just keep working the screen back and forth, left and right, and just wait till he gets a good shot or someone's wide open for a slip. He's got to simplify the game, and it'll come to him quickly.
Sav moving the ball around, drives the lane. Dayfry is there. It's not in time. 2-point lead for the Heat. Now Nudini, the off-balance 3. Can't get his go, but Dayfry with the wingspan gets the rebound, and Beast Move called again for the foul.
And that was an open shot by Dini. It wasn't wide open, so it means there was a slight contest coming in from the Heat. But it's still a good shot either way, and a shot that he can green.
It's a beautiful pass down low for Awkward for the easy two-handed jam, all tied at 7. First to 21 here in game 2. Back out Sav for 3. Green's the shot.
It looks to me like our defense might be a little bit of a bigger issue even than our offense right now. It doesn't look like we're communicating very well, and it might just be because everyone's playing a different position than what's normal in 3v3. Our rotations look a little bit slow, so hopefully we can get that fixed as well.
Dini off balance 3, no good. Now for the Heat, going the other way in the corner, it's Sav. Kicks it back out. Dayfry called for the reach. It's a one-man show for the Heat. Sav with all 10 points so far. Beast Move. Better defense here from Wiz D.G, except Dayfry just a little slow there in the corner. Hits the open 3, 13-7.
That's one of the most common passes in 2K when you just guess past that near side corner when you're driving, because it puts the corner defender in a really tough position whether to help or not.
Awkward responding with a 3 of his own, cuts the lead back down to 3. Feels like just the other day we saw Dayfry almost single-handedly carry this team on defense, forcing 3 late turnovers to seal the win. But now, playing out of position, like you were saying, kind of playing different roles here for these players. Definitely seems to be a struggle here.
Absolutely, and Dayfry's limited with his defense on the center. They're basically just putting him in the corner on defense, and he just has to hug his guy, and he really can't pressure the ball handler and get those bump steals like we saw last time.
Now it's Dini. Green's the 3 of his own, cuts the lead back to 1 possession.
Now is the time where a stop will be huge before it gets to a one-possession game to win for the Heat.
Stop for 3, no good, and Awkward with the big defensive board. Dini looking to go the other way, has space. 1-point game.
Good decision by Dini. Take the two. We got a few stops in a row, so hopefully we can chain this together one more and take the lead.
Sav finding space. Dayfry can't get there in time to challenge. 3-point game. 18-15. The 3-point shot will do it for the Heat. And Sav is called for the reach.
Back-to-back games where Sav gets his sharpshooting badge. So now it's going to be just like game one. It's going to be super tough for us to get a stop. We'll probably have to give up a two, and then try to get a turnover or something like that to win this game.
1-point game. Heat check just 3 points away from sealing a game 2 victory. Big defensive need. Pardon me, but strong defensive play here needed for Wizards D.G. Like Chris was saying, you can give up the 2. You just can't afford to give up the 3. Sav with the badge activated, finds it in the corner. Can't get it to go. It's a big offensive board. Could have easily gone to the basket, but kicks it back out to Sav. Now in the corner again, pulls up for 3. No good. Awkward. Gets pickpocketed from behind. Sav wants the 3. Will find it and greens the victory. 21-17. For Heat Check Gaming, 15 points in total for Sav once again. Just 1 point off what he had in game 1. That is tough. Dini with 10, Awkward with 7. Dayfry coming up with 0 here in game 2. For some reason, the play style that we're seeing here today, when they have the chance to pass the ball around, to get that movement, to get that spacing, and take high percentage chances, they most likely go in. Obviously, it's a high percentage chance for a reason, but for whatever reason, it feels a little panicky sometimes when they get the ball, especially on a fast break or if there's a turnover. They're going for quick points, and I don't know if that's really the strategy to go for here in 3v3.
Yeah, and that's a sign to me of just not being comfortable with the lineup that you're running. I think, having Dini at point guard, he's not like these other point guards in the league who play point guard as their natural position all year round. Like they're super comfortable in ISO situations and making reads, whereas Dini, he's played guard in the past, but that's not his primary position. So I think Awkward and Dayfry, knowing that in the back of their heads, they might try to press the issue a little bit more than normal, just because they think that, maybe they have to make up for some scoring that might be lacking from us. And just overall chemistry as the 3v3 team, this Heat team, Sav and Beast Move have been playing together. They play together in the offseason as well. So, they have a ton of chemistry, playing together. And then Saucy, he's having a great year at center. So, this is the Heat's primary lineup. Beast Move might be a little bit out of position, but we're playing a team that's pretty well gelled. They've made playoffs for 5v5, so it's not an easy opponent to be tinkering with the lineup. So I'm not really surprised that we're seeing this, but I do think that we have a lot better 2K in us, and we can definitely bring this back. It's just going to come down to getting more stops and being a little bit more patient, as you mentioned, on the offensive end.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a reminder for all the 2K players at home, this is still being played on the league build. This is still the league setup for these archetypes. So it's not exactly your highest difficulty level on the retail version of this game. That this is a pro build, if you will. So it is still tough. And then when you throw the arcadey aspect of this game into it, it's a wild one. That's one of the things that makes the 3v3 tournament so great. Is it's quick, it's fast scoring, and there's just a lot of it's virtual street ball is what it really comes down to here as we hop into game 3. This is a must win, obviously, for Wizards D.G. It's a best of 5, first of 3 wins. You're down 0-2 in the series. You have to find a way to hold Sav in check.
Absolutely. And I mean, I drafted Sav in season 3, so I know all about him. I spent a whole year with him in LA, so I know what game he has. He's a scorer first and foremost. He loves to play stage in 3v3. I think he enjoys that more than 5v5. So, this right here is his game mode. This is where he thrives, and you see it. He's able to ISO, he's able to get his shots off and drive to the lane when needed. And he's confident right now, so it's going to be tough to stop him. Hopefully we can keep him off badge this game. That'll give us a better chance towards the end of the game to kind of keep it close and get some stops to edge out a victory here.
The pass down low from D.G trying to find Dayfry. It's turned over, and then D.G commits the foul immediately. Stops the fast break opportunity, so I'd probably say it's a good foul overall. G-Smooth in the corner. Opens up the scoring for himself here in game 3. 6-0 for the Heat.
And as a struggling team offensively and defensively, a 6-0 start is not what we want to see. We do get a 3 back there, which is a great shot by D.G. Hopefully we can stop giving up threes right here and cut into this lead.
Yeah, something else you missed from the Atlanta series was the audio was off on all the games. So you'll hear that 3-point flare, if you will, when a player hits that and they're checking the ball up top. And you're just like, wait, where's that happening at?
Surprise.
So it's nice to know the audio is working again today as Nudini cuts into that lead. It's a 4-point game. Heat check still in full control of this series and this game so far.
The Heat are doing a good job of mixing up pick and roll, pick and pop, and just 5, or I guess it would be 3 out in this case, ISO situation. So they're not just throwing the same look over and over and over. They're switching it up, which is definitely putting a lot of pressure and onus on our communication to kind of, call out what's going to happen and put out a defense that's going to stop it.
D.G with another 3. Cuts the lead down to 1. That's definitely what we want to see. Nudini heating up behind that 3-point line. Definitely could be a key to victory here to try to get back into this series.
Absolutely. And if D.G has a big game right here and we take the win, his confidence is going to be a lot higher than it probably is right now. So if we want a chance to come back, D.G has to score the ball and he has to, be playing at his utmost confidence, which I think he can do if he pulls out this win.
Saucy with the rebound. Awkward guarding Sav. Driving lane, kicks it back out. Beast move in the corner. 3 seconds. Shot rattles out, but it's another offensive board.
That's been a huge storyline. Offensive rebounds by Saucy. I mean, he's been grabbing quite a few of them that have turned the tides for the Heat subtly.
Off balance shot. Long rebound picked up by Nudini, but turns the ball over. Fresh shot clock here for the Heat. Sav drives in. Enough pressure to miss the layup.
You can see how much fast, because Awkward's on the small forward lock, right? So he's tall and he's a little bit slower, and Sav's point guard build is fast and quick. So, it's really tough for Awkward or any lock with this build to stay in front in an ISO situation.
Wizards D.G with their first lead here in game 3, albeit a 1-point lead. Nudini gets a hand on that one. The Heat check ball.
Probably more importantly, we have Sav's POV, so we can see he has no takeover meter whatsoever. So I don't think we have to really worry about that end of game. So if we can just keep this close, I think we have a real shot at pulling it out.
B Smooth gets the ball from Dayfry to restart the game. Sav guarded closely. Awkward gets around him. Now for Wiz DG, a chance to respond and regain the lead. Down low finds Awkward. Back to D.G. Saucy all over him. Looking for that pick. In the corner. 4-3, no good.
That's a great shot. That's a corner specialist fading shot, which in this game is super high efficiency. So that's just really unfortunate he wasn't able to green right there.
Saucy down low. 3-point game. Heat check gaming with the lead.
We're doing a better job, though, as this game goes on, of not giving up threes, which is giving us a chance. We're staying in.
Dayfry keeping this one close. Wizzy G could use a turnover here. Sav thought about it, kicks it back out. Saucy for 3. 4-point game. D.G makes it a 2-point game. Expect to see Wiz D.G be a little bit more aggressive here on the defensive end.
Yeah, I would like to see a blitz or maybe something just to speed them up a little bit. The Heat are very comfortable just setting up their offense, doing what they do, and it's tough when you're in half court for 24 seconds in a 3v3. Like a lane is probably going to open up sooner than rather than later. So I like to see us maybe speed them up a little bit with a blitz or just a quick double team or something like that.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Saucy down low. 18-14. It's a one-possession game now for Heat Check. A three-point shot would seal the game and the series. Wiz D.G have to be careful here. They have to be smart with the ball and find their best high-percentage shot here to try to get themselves back in it, then lock up tight on defense. Awkward. On the right side, finds Nudini back at half court. 5 on the shot clock. Dini, the fadeaway three. Rattles it home. Clutch shot there from Dini.
Dini's thanking the 2K gods right there because that was a tough shot to make. I'm surprised that went in, but we'll take that all day.
Sav the long two. Awkward. Needs to be smart here. Gets fouled.
So we don't need a 3 right here because either way, the Heat will have a chance to win the game with their next possession. So it's just important for us to score so they don't get out in transition and get an easy bucket to win without setting up in half court. And there we go.
1 point game. A big defensive stop needed here. Kicks it back out. Saucy. 4-3. And Heat Gaming make a quick 3-0 series against the defending champs, Wiz D.G. Not going in their favor. That one's tough. That's definitely tough, especially coming off of that tough loss down in Atlanta as well. They're able to pull out one game at least down there, but here going up against a tough Heat team, like you said, Sav apparently is a 3-point genius. A 3v3 genius here when it comes to 2K. So that one's tough, but it was Saucy that really burned him here. Point wise, at least 10 points. Sav with 6 assists, pretty much feeding Saucy the entire time. That one definitely tough for Wiz D.G. Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was a little bit more of the same. They handled the ball a little bit better in this game. That they took better shot selections, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't lock up on defense, and it allowed some pretty easy baskets for the Heat.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from this series, like I said before, is we're playing a team that has a bunch of chemistry with the lineup that they're running. I think Pat's going to look at this game, and so is the rest of the team, and they're probably going to be real with themselves and say, this might not be our best lineup, moving forward for 3v3. But there is no way for us to ever know that without actually trying it in an actual game. And whether, Dini might play, a secondary ball handler role in 3v3, he might play a big, he might play anywhere. So it's good that these guys are getting experience, playing at different spots. We already locked up a pretty good seed either way. So it's good that we're experimenting. I really like that. But moving forward, I think we're going to have to look back to, some of our previous lineups to where we had found the most success and kind of go back to that as the games count a little bit more.
Absolutely. And while we're waiting for head coach Pat Crossan to join us here on the post-game show, just a quick reminder, All-Star voting is open right now for the 2K League. Head on over to NBA2KLeague.com. Head on over to the All-Star voting section to vote in all your favorite Wiz D.G players, all 5 of them. That's what we want to see here in the Eastern Conference. Currently, Dayfry in first place in the entire league with over 500 votes. In first place for the front court and really just in the league in general. The next closest, I believe, is in the Western Conference with just over 4. Then Awkward in second place with just over 300 votes as well. Vote today, vote early, vote often. And let's get some Wiz D.G players here in the second annual All-Star game for the 2K League. But yeah, again, we are still awaiting head coach Pat Crossan here. Looks like they are just in their post-game meeting right now. Chances are we won't have a player hop on. Generally, that doesn't happen after a loss. But nonetheless, it's always good to hear from the coach to kind of see what the actual game plan was, kind of like what they were going into, like Chris was saying, with a good seed position pretty much already locked up, whether you're going to be 1 or number 2. It's still overall you're not fighting for your 3v3 lives. You're not fighting to make the cut and have to play in the ticket or anything like that. You're pretty much locked in. You're good to go. This is just kind of feeling out, how are you going to play. So we'll ask him a little bit about what the overall game plan was going into this series. Was it to try new things out here, or was it to kind of just get a feel for where this team is at here after that game down in Atlanta? But yeah, he should be here in just a few moments as we're waiting here as I look over to the side camera. He's still not there yet. All right, cool. So Chris, the next game obviously coming up here. I mean, I feel like the series went so fast. We didn't get a chance to preview the game. But tomorrow it is Friday, July 22nd, a 7 p.m. tip-off against our friends from Toronto for the next 3v3 here. That will be for day 4 of week 1 for the 2K League's 3v3 seed week. And looks like head coach Pat Crossan has joined us here. So just as soon as he's done getting set up, we will go ahead and bring him on. Looks like he is good to go. Let's go ahead and bring on the coach. I'll find the correct button. We'll cool transition over. Head coach Pat Crossan, thanks again for joining us here on the post-game show. Another tough series. Chris was nice enough to kind of break down Sav here a little bit as he drafted him for Lakers Gaming when he was a coach back in season 3, and he was able to give us some insider information on his play style. Obviously, with you having experience with this player as well, what was Sav really the key factor here for the Heat? I mean, obviously he had 2 amazing games, really 3 amazing games. Was holding him in check part of the game plan?
Yeah, I mean that's a game plan, especially in threes, because the guard is such a pivotal part of the offense. If they get going, like he had his badge every game pretty much. So, when he gets his badge, obviously his attributes are boosted. He's got takeover. He's feeling good. He can move a little bit faster. Chris knows this, but it's harder to guard when he's hitting shots like that. And frankly, I think our defense just wasn't up to par today. So, that's kind of what it came down to.
Hey Pat, good to see you again. Tough loss. What was kind of like the thinking behind the lineups? Obviously, we've had a ton of success, with one lineup, and I was mentioning on the broadcast, it's definitely with a pretty good seed locked up. It's good to kind of tinker with things and see what you have. What's kind of your thought process with having Dini as the primary ball handler and Justin and Dave Fry going back to their kind of normal positions?
I think, like you said, it was just kind of tinkering with the lineups. I know we got the number 1 seed or 2 seed locked up for sure. It depends on the Celtics now if they keep winning or not. I know they're in contention for the 1 seed still, but we pretty much have the top 2 seeds, I believe, locked up. So that's a nice one by getting in the playoffs. But also, it's just to kind of tinker with the lineup. I feel like the 2 guard lineup worked very well, obviously for us in the tournaments, but we have a really good lock in Justin, who is a traditional lineup, which is, the point guard, the lockdown, and the power forward, which we've been running. So we wanted to kind of give this lineup some chances to, show what they can do. It's unfortunate that maybe we haven't had enough time to scrimmage and practice with it yet, but, I don't think it was all bad. I did think at times Dini looked really good on offense. He just kind of had to get in a groove, and, we really haven't been practicing that all season. So we wanted to kind of try to work these things in during seed weeks and see if we could find maybe a new lineup to take us to another level.
Now, on Tuesday, you guys traveled down to Atlanta for the series against the Hawks, and then you obviously traveled back, and you have to prepare for this game here tonight. We were talking a little bit about it for all gamers out there. We all have experienced ping and lag and everything like that. Do you think that plays a role for the player, or just mentally thinking when one day you're playing in a LAN setting where there is virtually no lag, no ping whatsoever, but then just a couple days later, almost 48 hours later, now you're playing remote again, and you have that to deal with in a game of timing? Is that something that may throw players off with that quick turnaround?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it's very early to tell in esports, especially for us in our league, because most people are used to playing online and they're used to playing at home. So when you add this travel into it, going to a new stadium, obviously, for us when we traveled to Atlanta, we weren't the home crowd. We didn't have the home crowd there, so everyone was clapping for the Hawks every time they made a play. So it is a unique challenge that maybe esports has to face, and maybe the 2K League has to face. But I think it's a good thing, to travel to a new area, try to win a game that's not on your home turf. Get out of your comfortability zone. That's what we like to do with these guys, and it's worked out pretty well with us the past couple of years. So we'll just keep doing it.
Yeah, and I'm interested in kind of like the mindset of the team right now. I know from being a player and a coach around this time, late July, it's kind of like the dog days of the 2K League season where you have some stuff locked up, especially if you're a good team, and it might be a little bit harder to get motivated until the games actually really matter. So, is there anything specifically that you guys are doing to kind of, stay on course and stay focused, or is the team just such a veteran group that you don't really have to say or do anything? They kind of just do that on their own.
I don't think I have to do too much. I think it's mainly just, making sure we have a nice schedule, giving the guys their off days when we have the chance, and then obviously pushing them when we need to. I know we're going to get back into 5v5 scrimmages. I think starting on the weekend, we kind of took a week off just to relax because the seed weeks were over, and now we're on the 3v3, so we want to focus on that. But we got to gear up for playoffs in a month, and we have what this week, next week, then we have a bye week, so the guys are going to go home. They're going to get to spend some time with their family, and then after that, it's the ticket week, which we just prepare and practice because obviously we don't play in, and then playoffs right after that. So we're probably a month away from when playoffs start, and we really need to start hitting our stride in scrimmages, and that's going to be a big month for us.
Yeah, I know in traditional sports, there's that conversation of having so much time off. Does that hurt or help a team? Obviously, while physical injuries aren't as prevalent in esports, do you think for these players having that time off to go home to kind of get that rest, relaxation, be around family and friends during that time, then coming back, getting back into business, scrimming and practicing, but still having so much time off? Do you think that not saying for Wizards D.G, but just overall for the 2K League, do you personally feel like that helps or possibly hinders a team going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, esports is such a mental game. I mean, physical, you can use your hands and whatnot, but like mentally, you have to lock in for, what, an hour. If you're playing a series, you can play 3 hours, and you're playing high 2K, high esports, whatever it is. And mentally after the game, you're kind of checked because you spent all your energy, just trying to think of things, call out things, communicate with your teammates. And then, it's kind of funny after the game, even I'll go home and, mentally I'm just absolutely drained, but my body is still amped up because I wasn't doing anything physical. So that's kind of like a unique thing that I've noticed over the years in esports. And I'm sure Chris, you probably noticed this too when you're playing and coaching. It's just like you're so focused for that hour or 3 hours. For us, that one tournament, it was like literally 6 hours, and then afterwards, our bodies were still ready to go, but basically our brains were mush at that point. So it's just such a crazy thing to experience.
Absolutely, and I know exactly what you're talking about there. And looking ahead to tomorrow's matchup against the Raptors, obviously, if Fanta does play, he's kind of like Sav and one of those, stage guards who comes from the 3v3 scene. So is it going to be, any different, kind of preparing and game planning for the Raptors than it was the Heat? Or are you guys just kind of just going with the flow and just going to be, ready to go tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I think if we can, hold Fanta to maybe 8, 10 points, I think we'll be pretty good. Our defense, like I said today, wasn't really at its high standard that we like to keep it at. So we really have to get back there because if we let a guard like Fanta do the same thing Sav is going to do, or what he did to us tonight, it's going to be tough for us to beat the Raptors. And I know they're a good team in 3v3. They're still fighting, I think, for positioning. I'm not sure if they can still make the playoffs or not, but still they're fighting for ticket seating. So that's pretty important. And really, I think it's just one of those things. We'll have to go back to the scrim board tomorrow and see if we want to run this lineup again or if we want to change it up a little bit.
All right, head coach Pat Crossan of Wizards District Gaming, thank you so much for joining us here on the post-game show. We won't keep you too much longer. I know it's a quick turnaround tomorrow, like Chris was saying there, for our friends against Toronto tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, Coach. We'll see you tomorrow.
John and Chris, like always, it's a pleasure. Talk to you guys, all right?
Thanks, Pat. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right, yeah, that one was just tough. Credit to the Heat. They came out, they played, they balled out of their mind. In game 3 when Sav was locked down, Saucy stepped up. And that's what it really comes down to, whether it's 5v5 or 3v3. But in a game that's only to 21 points, which a lot of time is what we see in one quarter of play for 5v5, these games can get out of hand fairly quickly if you're not able to keep up with the high pace of scoring or get crucial defensive stops.
Yeah, for sure. And Pat mentioned it there in the interview. I think, it always comes down to defense. Defense is always going to be the driving force of a win or a loss. I know offense can struggle here or there, and most teams will struggle with offense for a few possessions, even in 3v3. But our defensive intensity and communication, just from watching the games, just wasn't there tonight. So that's something that we definitely have to correct. The schedule's not doing us any favors. We're playing these stage-heavy guards who, they're dribble heads, they're comfortable in ISO, so it makes it a lot more difficult because, some teams that we play in 3v3, it's strictly pick and roll, pick and pop. But when you add in the ISO as kind of that third wheel to that equation, it makes it very difficult, to kind of compartmentalize all that's going on at the same time. So I expect more of the same from the Raptors. It'll definitely be important for us to go back and watch this film. I do expect a different lineup tomorrow. I'm not sure what exactly it'll be, but I do expect a little bit more tinkering. Maybe we go back with the old. Maybe we try something different with D-Fry at the center still. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited for tomorrow. It'll be a quick turnaround, so we can get this loss out of our minds quickly and move forward with a win tomorrow night.
Final question for you. I'm going to ask you to put your virtual coach whistle back on here, Coach Chris. If you were picking the lineup tomorrow night, what would you like to see?
It would honestly depend. If we're going for a must win, like if we're just, putting it all out there and we had to win this game, I would just go back to the lineup where Dave Fry's at point guard. We have B. Rich at shooting guard. They're both ball handlers. And then obviously Dini at the center position. Because I think that's their best defensive lineup by far. It just proves with all the steals and bumps Dave Fry gets, and he honestly composes the team the best. But if I were to tinker with the lineup, what I would do is I would honestly give Cap a run at point guard. I'd probably put in Cap, maybe put Dini at the 2 or even B. Rich, and then obviously Dave Fry at the center. Cap is their traditional point guard in 5v5, so maybe it's just something that they see in practice where he's not as comfortable in 3v3. But it would be interesting to see him, with Dave Fry and another ball handler out there to see, because Cap's someone who can control the game very, very well. So I feel like with him and with the combination of someone else who can score like a B-Rich or a Dini, and then having Dave Fry at his natural position at center, just causing havoc and being able to step up on screens and stuff like that, that would be something that I would like to try if it is not a must-win game, like I mentioned.
All right. Well, we'll have to see if any of those predictions there come true tomorrow. Again, the game 7 p.m. Eastern time. Pending NBA 2K League tinkering, we will be here with you roughly about 5 minutes before tip-off for a quick pregame show, or maybe it'll be a 10-minute show. We don't know. We'll figure out when the league figures it out, when they will stick with tip-off time. That'd be nice. But tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time against Raptors Uprising GC. It was a tough one tonight, 3-0, the final series score here against the Heat as Wizards D.G fall to 0-2 on week 1 for 3v3 seed week. But tomorrow's another day. We'll see the team bounce back. This team is very gritty, like we saw with their comeback there in Game 2 down in Atlanta. And this team wants to win. We've heard it time and time again from these guys and from the head coach. So I expect nothing less these guys to come out prepared and ready to go, even with that short turnaround.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see the guys tomorrow. Like we said, we can get this loss fresh out of our mind quickly and just move forward with, a good taste in our mouth and just having momentum going into the 3v3.
Absolutely. So with that, that's going to do it for tonight's Coach Stream. Everyone in chat, thank you so much for tuning in and watching the official Coach Stream of Wizards District Gaming. So happy to have you here with us. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Chris and I will be right back here with you then. Until tomorrow night, have a good one.
Made it all look painless, no streaks is stainless. Heard it all my life, stayed up all my nights, said I gon' be famous. You're famous, no games, it's when I shoot my veins. This trying to get that loot and pay my dues for that, just nameless. Became this, they shameless, cover up they lameness. Really got no brain and you want to